Welcome to the Female Finance Collective podcast, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money.
I'm Jen, and I struggled for many years with debt and feeling financially overwhelmed, so I know how frustrating it can be. Now I'm passionate about helping women confidently take control of their personal finances.
And I'm Mary Lee. As a financial planner, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of women who've transformed their financial lives. I'm excited to share my insights to help you on your financial journey.
Hey, I'm Sybil. I built my dream life traveling the world and creating financial freedom on a teacher's salary. Now I help women take charge of their money and burn brighter in life.
Let's start the money conversation. So last week we talked all about being thoughtful about your spending this summer, maybe doing some inventories before you start spending and shopping for the summer necessities, and being thoughtful about coming up with some no spend or low spend activities that you can do in the summer so that you're still enjoying everything that is to offer without breaking the bank, right? So, what we want to do today is kind of come up with a little challenge or share a little challenge that we have for you. And that is to choose a weekend in the summer to no spend, right? To have a no spend weekend. And there's several reasons why we think no spend weekends or no spend time periods, right? You can set it for a week or a month or whatever. Why we think, I've even seen people on social media share no spend years, which I think is wild. That would be super hard for me, but I can do a month. I did a month, but we think weekends are really doable, and they're a great way to sort of prove to yourself that you can not spend, and then also utilize some of the things you already have on hand, or kind of force yourself to take advantage of stuff you already own or things that you like to do that really don't cost any money. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to share some ideas and then also some whys, reasons why we think this is fun. So all right, Sybil and Mary Lee, which one of you wants to share a great idea first for a no spend weekend? Or maybe you don't want to start with an idea. Maybe you want to start with why you think this is good or why you want to implement one of these.
I'll share why I think it's good, just from a personal perspective. So we tend to like to do little weekends away. It's one of our favorite ways to just rest and recharge. And whenever we do those weekends away, it's usually a hotel stay. It's usually eating out a lot of the weekend. And I find then doing a no spend weekend, like a week or two later, really helps to balance out our spending for the month so that we're not so much over our expectations. We're able to enjoy traveling, enjoy getting away, and still maintaining some of the parameters that I've set for what I would like to spend in an average month. So, the nice thing about the no spend weekend is it's a short period of time. You can do anything for 2 or 3 days. It's not an overwhelming challenge, but it's amazing what a difference it can make. So I'd say as part of it, really do kind of track how that goes for you. Like if on average every weekend you're going out for dinner once or going to the movies or whatever it looks like for your family, then just kind of see how much you spend on an average weekend, and then on the no spend, kind of how much the savings would be.
Yeah, for sure. The intentionality, right, is what you're talking about it is being a conscious spender and or not spender, not spending that money, right? Thinking ahead. I love the way you said we want to treat our weekends like mini vacations. There's a great article in the New York Times about that. And that's such a smart thing to do. And so with that, we end up spending more money. And so balancing that with these kind of challenges are fun. Our brain loves that, it's a challenge. And the idea of not just 2 days, 3 days, like pushing yourself a little bit more. Let's do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the amount of consciousness then you have during that weekend that you're spending, let's say, and that weekend that you're deciding not to spend is really high level and intentional. And like you said, to track that and how does it make you feel? And kind of celebrating, like I did it. It made me feel so good. I need to do this again. Maybe I'll do it once a month, right? Because we can use that intentionality and that consciousness to our benefit to make it easier and easier. And then continually our spending should become more conscious. And that's like a huge way to build the life that you want, right? When you're conscious and intentional about what's coming in and out, you can make such better decisions on your spending in the moment and not fall into maybe some of that lifestyle creep as much as well, like on just a kind of a bigger life picture with it.
Yeah. And it really reinforces the fact that we can do a lot of things with our money. We can enjoy how we spend our time, but we can't spend how we want to every single day. So it
Right.
just creates a sense of having some boundary and
Uh-huh.
some restriction on where money goes. And that really is a fundamental skill to have, and it really does help. So if you're able to you know, defer purchases, to not spend money every day, it really does make a difference to the overall monthly financial picture.
I agree. And I think what happens sometimes in summer specifically, I think it's summer and then like the holidays, is summer you just feel like you're on a break, right? Even if you're still going to work every day, like if you have kids, they're not in school. Even in the neighborhood, right? I don't have kids, but the kids in the neighborhood are not in school. They're everywhere, right? Riding their bikes and running around and they're in all the stores. And so it just feels like a little bit of a different vibe, right? In the atmosphere and the community is just a little bit different. And so it starts to feel like we're all on a little break, right? And so it becomes so much easier to spend when you're like, "Oh, this is so fun. Oh, it's summer. Oh, we just do this special in the summer. Oh, we just do this here." Right? It's like when you're on vacation and you're like spending extra because you're on vacation. And I feel like that can kind of creep into the summer as well, where your spending just gets kind of wild because,
Mhm.
you're just living in the moment and kind of taking advantage. Whereas like I don't feel like in, other months of the year, like March, I'm not out there like feeling vacationy and summery, right? I'm just like holed up because it's cold and rainy. So I think it's like a different atmosphere and a different vibe. And so I love the idea of bringing a consciousness to it to kind of prevent getting carried away. Um, and doing a little pre-planning, like how Mary Lee last week was talking about how can I plan my summer budget, like how much extra money am I okay spending on these fun things, or maybe we do pick a weekend where we spend a little extra and then we try to do these like free or low cost activities the other times, just really coming up with some balance. And then the other thing that I thought of when you were talking, Mary Lee, was you also shared last week about thinking ahead. So if this summer you're like, ugh, I wish we would have planned a weekend getaway, or I wish we would have planned a vacation, this is the time now to start saving for that for next year. Choose a weekend next year, or a place you want to go, or a vacation that you want to take, and plan now for next summer. These no spend weekends can kind of be a kickstarter to those savings. So if you say, you know what, we're going to do one no spend weekend each month this summer, you can take that money and lump, if you already are aware of how much you spend on a weekend, you can take that money and start saving toward the fun thing that you want to do next year and then kickstart that kind of account, if you will.
That's
Yeah.
such a good idea. I love that idea. And so prepping for these no spend weekends, you can make it fun. You can think, what am I going to do? So that way I'm not tempted to get on Amazon, to go to Target, whatever it may be, that you might want to spend money for. And so you can do things like looking through your bookshelf, right? Which books have I not read yet? You know how we all have them, right? You guys have books that you haven't read yet?
For sure.
I for sure do. I actually just did that the other day. I was looking through my books and I was like, what can I read on my trip that I just got back from? I'm like, what should I take with me? And there were a handful of books that I really want to read, that I bought and I still want to read, that I hadn't read yet. So things like that is a great thing you can do before that no spend weekend. And you can get in a mindset of, I can't wait to just read. I never make time to read. I've got 5 books. I'll have to pick one of them that I'm going to read during that no spend weekend. What else can you do to kind of prep for a no spend weekend?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is, I guess, outlining the rules for your no spend.
Mm,
And so when I've done the no spends in the past, I do let myself use up gift cards and things like that. So I hunt around, I find what we have. And those gift cards tend to be the things we're just not thinking about very often. So I let myself use those on the no spend. So technically you're going and doing something, or you're maybe it's a meal or whatever it is. But I do let myself use gift cards. The other thing is, like, you don't stock up before your no spend. So you're
mm.
not like going and buying extra stuff for your no spend. So you're doing your regular kind of grocery shopping and whatever that you do. You're not buying ahead a ton of stuff to kind of binge before you do the no spend. So that's something that can happen. Like when we feel like we have limits, sometimes we go to the extreme and we decide to pre-purchase stuff. So those are kind of the two things that I thought about as rules or boundaries before you get started.
Yeah, definitely rules. We're not saying don't pay your bills that are due that weekend,
Right.
right? Like we're saying no spending on your wants. Spending on
Yeah.
needs, like if somebody has to go to the doctor, you have to pick up a prescription or pay a bill. Please do those things, right? But it's the no spending on the wants that we're talking about. And so I think, excuse me, I think one strategy to kind of prepare is to look around your house. Sybil, books was a great idea because I have a whole stack of them that I've never read. I could probably just spend a whole year reading the books that I like to purchase but haven't read yet. Even though I've read a million, still have some I haven't. Um, but I think you can look around your house for the things that you have that you just haven't used in a while or have never used, right? I absolutely have crafting supplies. I can hold myself up in here for a month with the crafting supplies I own and not have to purchase anything. So if you enjoy crafting, like is there stuff like that that you have, or if you have kids and they have craft supplies, right? Things that they could use, coloring books they've never cracked open or things like that, puzzles, games, anything that you either haven't done or used in a long time or have never opened, this is the perfect time for that. It does. Sybil likes to say that I like to eventize everything, which is kind of true,
Yeah.
but it makes your no spend weekend like an event, right? Hey, it's going to be so fun. We're going to do this game we haven't played in 2 years. We're going to, make this recipe that we all love and forget about all the time. We're going to, do whatever it is, make it into a fun thing. Movie night in the family room, right? Build a family fort and everybody hangs out in there. That's fun and it's free.
Yep.
I just pictured like you making like a great giant sign saying it's our no spend weekend.
I
That
love
would be
that.
perfect. I could absolutely do that. And then it could be like, all crafty and then welcome. Welcome to the weekend.
And you can build awareness with your sign
That's
in the
right.
neighborhood. That's
Exactly,
so fun.
exactly.
You have to do that, Jen.
Yeah, you're using up all your craft supplies on this sign.
I made this
Perfect.
sign for free.
I love it. What else? Can you guys think of anything else that we could do to prep or even during the weekend, like to make it either more fun or more doable or
Did you mention
Um,
a pantry? Kind of, asking ChatGPT, here's what I have in my pantry, right? And ask ChatGPT or whatever AI you use to come up with a couple recipes to go with those ingredients, and then see if you can eat out of what you already have. Again, don't go shopping beforehand, but just normal, what's in that pantry. That would be a fun one that you could do for that no spend weekend.
yeah, like Chopped.
Yes.
You could
Is that what they
gather
do
up
in Chopped?
on Chopped, they get a basket of 4 ingredients that are totally random and they don't
Okay.
know what they're going to be. And then they have a set period of time to create a dish using those random items. So you could totally, like, it would be fun, right? You might eat something
Yeah,
weird, but it would be like a fun adventure.
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, and kids love stuff like that. Like
Yes.
anything out of the norm, they just really, really thrive on participating in. And the nice side benefit is you're using up that food. It's kind of a
Mhm.
nice way to refresh what you own. Um, I guess the one thing I always think about is when I started doing these, I realized how often I spend, right? Like, especially on the weekend. So I used to have a 9 to 5. So during the week, I was busy, with kids, career, trying to sleep. And a lot of my weekends were spent shopping. That's when I did all the errands. That's when, my kids, if they were playing, I would sit on my phone and find things to buy. I would take them places, and all of those activities involved spending money. So it might feel very hard at the beginning. You pick up your phone and you think of what do we need on Amazon. Like, it's just the normal habits that you might have. So it will feel like a challenge at times. It
Mhm.
can feel hard, and it's pushing through that and just saying, like, this is something that I'm doing. I've got a couple of days. I'm just gonna keep up with this goal of not spending on the wants or those impulse purchases.
Yeah, and that made me think we can remove some of those temptations too. There's no harm in taking the Amazon app off your phone for a weekend. You put it right back on, right? When you need it. Like, but it is so automatic. We pick up our phones to do something, and how many times do you do something else than why you picked it up, right? You saw that
Mhm.
Amazon app and you remembered you wanted to buy whatever. So to remove that temptation during this weekend is actually a really great strategy as well. So that way you don't accidentally open Amazon and buy whatever that was.
Well, and if you do some searches for a no spend weekend, your social media feed is going to be full of them. So that can help you to
True.
keep up the motivation, like using social media in a positive way.
Yeah.
For sure. And you could use it like you could ask a friend or a neighbor to be your accountability partner. Maybe you can get them doing it too. Share about it on social media. If you really like to post and you're somebody who shares and, gets your community some of your community that way, I think this is a great thing. It's a positive thing to share about. Like, hey, my family's doing this challenge, or even if you're single, you can still do this challenge. I say family just because that tends to be what I imagine this being, but I don't know why, because if I was, it'd just be me and my husband. But just share what you're doing with other people, be a positive influence, but then also holding yourself accountable at the same time. I think there's some real benefit in that. It just helps other people build this same awareness. I just saw a video the other day and she was like, wait, you guys are, I didn't see her original video. It's just random. She was like, why is everybody roasting me for saving money? I'm so confused. She was like, are you guys not putting money in your retirement accounts? Are
I
you guys
love
not
it.
saving money? And she was legit confused because the comments on her other post had really like kind of given her a hard
Like,
time for it. And she was like, I'm confused. So we need people to bring awareness to this type of thing, to how you're saving, to how you're spending thoughtfully, and how you're managing your finances in a positive way. We all make mistakes. All of us have spent money on things we probably shouldn't have, or we might look back and regret those spends. We've also skipped saving when we really wish we would have. There's all of us have these like financial regrets, if you will, right? Things we would do differently if we could go back. But it's all about moving forward in a positive way. And if you can share your learnings and your positive experiences and tips to other people, it makes it feel more approachable for
Yeah.
everybody, and it makes it feel like they can do it too.
Well, and feeling aligned with where your money goes and being able to save is a cool thing to do. Like, it really is something that's powerful. It will benefit your life. And I think too, it's when you do talk to other people, sometimes we feel really awkward. We feel like everyone has more money than we do, that their finances are different. And it's not making assumptions about that. Like, I work with a lot of higher income earning people, and they are still stressed about how much things cost. Like, that's just the general financial vibe that is out there. There's lots of uncertainty in the world. Things feel harder than they have in a while. So just, yeah, just how people feel about spending. A lot of people feel like they're worried about it. They see the cost of things constantly increasing. So it's a way to take back a little bit of control and just taking a little bit of a pause on spending.
Yeah, and the peace that develops within when you do that, when you do this kind of balance that we were talking about, if you spend a lot on a weekend, let's think about how we can do a no spend weekend to kind of balance that out rather than spending a lot every single weekend, right? The peace that within you when you feel that control is just enormous, because you're absolutely right. The more we make, the more we spend in general, and that's very, very true. It's hard for our brains to think that is true because we're always trying to get there in a way, but it is absolutely true when you look at the research and science. And so I love this idea that we're talking about, just awareness and spreading these ideas, because that's what we're all about here at the Female Finance Club. That is our mission, is to help women become financially literate, feel confident with their money, take control so we can live day to day in a more peaceful, less stressed way. So, what amazing conversation it has been today. We really hope that you will try a no spend weekend this summer. Comment below and let us know when you're going to do it, how it is to go, what are you prepping for? Because that motivation, it is really inspirational. And you may never hear from those women or those families that take your inspiration and do it themselves, but know that you're changing lives, because every single one of us has to and should get to know our money and become confident with it. So we appreciate you listening. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow us on social media, and we will see you next week.